Tom, aka Genio, here for Tabletop Tap Room. And today is Fanzine Friday. We have Star Frontiersman number 16. So this is the 16th week straight we've been doing this. And this issue of the Star Frontiersman, it's well, let's just bring up the share screen. You would think from this that you're getting something with a Nighthawks theme, but honestly, it is a setting themed issue, and you'll see that as we get into it. It's setting and background, and there's some really cool stuff in here. And I'm so glad I actually reread this for this fanzine review, because there was a lot of good material in here that I kind of forgot about being here. So I'm really happy to have gotten into this. So CGI artwork for the cover that looks like a AZ Molder piece of work to me. Very busy Nighthawk scene going on. And the first article that we get to in the Star Frontiersman number 16 is the Clikks. Now, this particular article, I believe it's by Eric Billy Goat Johnson, and I believe he was working with the hinted at material on the Clikks in the Sundown on Starmus module. So this is kind of cool. You know, it's kind of a two-page racial brief for using the Clikks as a NPC race within the setting. Useful. That's a very useful thing. However, I don't suspect from reading it and from the fact that I actually own this module is that it does not benefit from the Click-Clack module, which was written by Steve Winter, no less than Steve Winter of Star Frontiers fame, for the Star Drive RPG. Now, I went looking on Drive-Thru RPG, and the Star Drive materials didn't appear to be there. Neither was Click-Clack. So here you see an auction listing for it on one of the auction sites. It's currently going at $49.95 buy now. I own it. It's somewhere around here. I have no clue where. I have a clue where to start looking, but so I should probably actually do a review of this. This actually has a lot of Star Frontiers inspired material on the Clikks, including a Click ship that's just really unusual and unique. So this is out there. If you can run it down, if you can track it, pick it up without paying too much for it. Is the Click-Clack module. But in the meantime, you do have this is a well-written two-page NPC brief on the Clikks as a NPC species. It's well thought out. It's well reasoned. I like the special abilities they're given. The now he's using the a blade of chitin here. Chitin? I'm not sure. For all I know, it could be chitlins. Probably not.
I think that's a food. I don't know.
No, chitlins is is pig intestine. And they're basically, if you're going to have chitlins, there's two varieties. They need to clean the matter that is inside the pork and the intestines out. So you can either wash it in the crick, or you can whoop it against the stump. I prefer crick washed over stump whooped. Just personal preference. But no, it's chitin. I should have looked up the word so I could pronounce it right for the video. I apologize. But anyhow, he specifies here that it basically acts like the partial polyplate armor, which at the time that he wrote this, that was available in the digitally remastered Alpha Dawn rulebook. And I wonder, I thought, did I make a PDF and make it available free by download in the show notes? I have to run that down. It's something that should be available. I just loved the full polyplate and the partial polyplate armor. I thought they were fantastic additions to, and they just need to get republished in a fan magazine so that we keep them in, you can point to the particular issue. But he's referencing it here. Basically, it's 100 points of Sky Suit armor. It's a blade of chitlin. So half damage goes against stamina, half against, this 100 points. They've got sonic resistance, electric field generation, which is kind of a callback to the electric field associated with that pyramid and that massive tank that was left on, Star Mist. So this is cool. This is really cool. He's got some interesting rules here about raptorial arms on the female Clikks, that if they hit you twice in combat, you are now pinned in their arms. You need a strength, successful strength check to break free. There's a leaping ability here. I think this is really well done, and I like what he did here. And seeing as how he did the Clikks, he then did a review, a planetary brief on Sundown, the Sundown system. Same guy, Eric Billy Goat Johnson, and it's fairly thorough, but it's taking the system and writing a history and places of interest into it after the module. So after the UPF has been, establishing research stations there. A little bit of the secret history. They talk about the Heliope tribes. He's got some write-up on that, places of interest. There's apparently, in his setting here, there's a series of space stations around Strum. And so I had to look up Strum through the material here. And when you get down to this little graphic representation of the system, Strum is down here. It's not around, it's a moon, but it's not around the inhabited planet. It's down here around Sundown 8, which is a dwarf planetoid. So what I would do, since it's a whole series of space stations, and they can be quite small, you've got Carousel, is the series of space station, Customs Outpost 1, Holiday Station, Sundial. I would get a chart of the Lagrange points in a system like Earth and the Moon, and I would just place these stations at the Lagrange points, and just say, all right, they're at the Lagrange, to save on station keeping, to save on energy, and station keeping thrusters. So that's what I would do with that. Is I would one little extra detail. It's not that important, but I like the verisimilitude of some real science in my Star Frontiers. So that's what I would do with that. It's a cool system brief, kind of trying to take it up, update it a little bit. Next, we've got Alan Trussell on Theseus. And it's a short one. It's basically 2 pages with a nice graphic representation of the star system. I have some small problems with it because, like he specifies, there's not much crime. When you have a planet with the highest population density and the capital city is called Maze, that suggests things to me. I think you're going to find some crime and punishment going on there. I do like, he talked about the society being stratified and having royalty. I don't know that I'd want the rulers of this planet to be referred to in terms of royalty. However, I do like them, in terms of like an oligarchy. They're social elites. They run it. You got the social elite families. It's kind of supposed to be a democracy. So you've got the ruling families who kind of control things. I would go that way with it. But again, it's a handy system brief. I don't think it's the first or the last Theseus brief that we've gotten in the fan magazine, but it's definitely something that you can use, and it's got a great looking look at this. look at this graphic representation of the star system. Very nicely done. Frontier Creatures, also by Alan Trussell. Now, here's what I like about this article, is that he did all these creatures and established them to different planets. You know, you see the native world here, Hakosar, forest, native world, Minotaur, any climate, native world, Grand Quivera, forest. And so he's done all these creatures. The only sad point on this is we don't have some sketches. We don't have any illustrations for these creatures, but we do have descriptions. So you can go from that. But these are well done. He's done a proper stat block here, according to the Alphadon rules. I love that. So this is just handy material, a little bit of a creature catalog that you're getting in the, here from Alan Trussell. Good material. Now, this background material is a number of different writers under the heading of background material. And up first, you have UPF Agencies, written by Victor Gil de Rubio. And I always have to, when I read his name, I always have to stop myself from flashing back to Hook, when Robin Williams is meeting the guy who replaced him as the Pan, and all the Lost Boys are chanting Ruvio, Ruvio. I guess Rubio, yeah. So, but Victor Gil de Rubio, he's been around a long time in the frontier. Great frontiersman. He's published a number of stuff in the fanzines, and this is UPF Agencies. Now, so you get some interesting takes here. You know, League of Ambassadors, the Colonial Affairs Committee. These are just bureaucratic pieces of the UPF government. And I like this stuff because this is the type of stuff where I will, I will actually use something like this as a trigger for an adventure. I will just, boom, go into that. This Colonial Affairs Committee, I might use it as, like a background story of something was going on in the government. And, so there might be a little bit of part of the background for the player characters. So I really love this, like UPF Trade Commission. I can think of things to do with that. Frontier Trade Administration, the UPF Postal Service, and War Masters Guild. I kind of like this War Masters Guild that they to regulate the mercenaries in the frontier. I kind of like it a lot. Then next you get these adventure concepts written by me. Colony Ship Lost, recycled PCs. This recycled PCs was predicated on Star Frontiersman number 3, where you had an aging table. And you had to take your regular PCs that you'd run through a whole campaign and you were done with them, and you pull them back out, you age them to like the highest levels of aging. And they're all getting together. You write in what they've been doing since they stopped adventuring together. And they're getting back together for a funeral, but then something happens, and so now it's one last hurrah for the old war horses. And so that's the idea here for this recycled PCs. I thought it was really cool at the time. I don't know how viable it is. And then you've got Behind Enemy Lines. This is predicated on the First Sathar War, where you have local militia, police, security forces are behind enemy lines on the planet Pale when the Sathar have landed, and they're trying to get to the free Palonite forces to link up and continue the resistance against the dreaded Sathar. And it's, some ideas on like a whole campaign to run there. Some great artwork from AZ Gamer. Again, I love this square soda can floating away from this wrecked assault scout, and a lawn chair. Look at this lawn chair floating in space. That's just cool. Data searches in the White Light system. This is, I wrote these up as if like the player characters are going to, check the computer nets for information on movers and shakers in the White Light system. So I started with the Liberation Party, which was in the Warriors of White Light module, extrapolated from there, extrapolated a Liberal Party of Clarion. it's got movers and shakers in there. Lady Hilda Slike is a member of the Liberal Party. She's got a major write-up here. I did a whole bunch of political parties for Clarion. They're patterned after the British political system, and they're actually kind of patterned off of the Honor Harrington, the Monarchy and the Honor Harrington, novels. So they're inspired by that. The Liberation Front is back. They're still around. They've not fallen apart. And the Guards of Clarion is an ultra extreme faction of the Liberation Front. And then I've thrown in here for fun the Royal Mounted Constabulary, and this is their little symbol here. And then I wrote up two cadres, new cadres and cults. So I started with the Universal Family Movement, which is a Yazarian-inspired religion, but it allows anyone can come in. So if you're versed, you could join the universe. It's primarily a Yazarian thing, but they allow anyone in, even Dralasites, the horror. So it's hated by the family of one. It's a very small movement, so that's why I've listed it as a cult and cadre. And then I've done a little write-up on the Guards of Clarion and a more formal write-up on Clan Renegade. So this is a more formal write-up on Clan Renegade that appeared in some other material I wrote about, the art of writing fluff, Yazarian literature, blah, blah, blah. So this is really cool. This is a fistful of rumors. It is a D100 table, and you know how I like a D100 table. But these rumors, some of them are true, some of them are false, and some of them are just whatever you decide. I did not put any F's in here to flag you that some of these might be false. You almost have to know the setting a little bit. So I kind of apologize for that. I didn't think of that at the time. Like, for instance, number 1, Yazarian females often battle rage during labor. That's up to you to decide. Almost everything in here is connected to the setting somehow, some way. So I mean, I just found pieces like number 76. The Versed Mutual Aid Society was robbed, but only computer records were taken. So you're rolling on this rumor table. You can have NPC. Oh, did you hear? And so this is going to be. I'm seeing a problem already. Number 45. The CEO of Godco is a pederast. That's more of an adult rumor, obviously. I don't know where I got that one, but it's 100 rumors. They're all in some way, somehow connected. And, number 54. Look out for the red rage dose. It's supposed to be contaminated. Rage Dose was an equipment item that I included in the Magic of the Frontier, where I was trying to create equipment items that would act like magic items for the frontier, because when you play D&D you get some magic items, and so I wanted some things that would act like potions, and I says, all right, what would act like potions within the frontier? Rage Dose has a very specific thing it can do, but it has consequences, and now I have a rumor that says the red Rage Dose is contaminated. You can decide if these are false. Like 61, the best chefs in the known space are from Osak in the Rim. That's up to you to decide for your setting. So this is very cool. I'd forgotten about this being here, but it's something I need to print out, 3-ring hole punch, and put it in the folder next to game material. Civil service organizations. Again, now previously we had from Victor de Rubio. And now we have Matthew Crimble, and there's some overlap. So basically, you pick what you want, but I love this one here, the Bureau of Standards and Statistics, also known as BOSS. I love that. I love a good acrostic. Frontier Postal Service, again, So you have the UPF Postal Service. I think I'll go with this name, Frontier Postal Service, and just pick the best elements from both. What's fascinating with this is that Matthew Crimble wrote civil service as background in Star Frontier's campaign, and then he's Star Frontier Civil Service campaign, since ideas on how to work these things into a campaign. I thought that was smart. Laamvin, alien species, the Laamvin, you get an illustration. It's 2 pages, which I think is the right. Same as Alpha Dawn for the verse Zarian. So there you go. Creative refereeing. These are just tips from me on getting the players to root their characters in the background into the setting, which is always something I push for. Plus, I love that Yazarian illustration there. Frontier fiction. This here is the Discovery prologue from Tom Stevens's book. You can see it here on drive-through. It's a good story. And so I'm not going to, no spoiler alert on this, but you can actually get a copy of it, watermarked PDF for $0, or you could buy an actual hard copy, for a few bucks more. Good story, depicts the discovery of the void space jump technology. So I thought that was cool. Some nice frontier fiction for you. We will scroll past that. And vehicles. The UPF Meteor class assault shuttle. No deck plan, but good stats on this, good write-up. It's basically the U.S. military's Osprey, vertical takeoff and landing Osprey, done as an assault shuttle for Star Frontiers. Very cool. And Frontier History, Return to Volturnus. Now, this is an examination of what could have happened on Volturnus after the events of the module, how the government comes about. And I go through all of the 5 options that were possible. And I kind of like a mix of about 3 of these for my setting. So this is just an examination of what could have happened there. It addresses the Enora egg ship. Was it found? Wasn't it found? Because that's up to each game master. And then I did a massive Frontier history timeline. And so I wrote a little bit of the story of the Frontier history here, with how the verse and the Drolocytes came to be in the Frontier, the humans, how they arrived, the first contact between the verse humans and Drolocytes, then the arrival of the Yazarians, and the free world rebellion that went on and its consequences, because there were a lot of consequences, and I wove them all into the Frontier history. Now, I do make changes, but I strove to have a 0 sum. So even though I made changes, you still get the exact same Frontier that's presented in canon material, but I just embellished it a little bit more and went into the founding of the Federation and how that's linked. And now this is a timeline I did. It's a pre-Frontier history timeline. And so you see here, UPF timeline, that's Galactic Standard Time. And I did all these other calendars, which are linked to particular planets. And this is all prehistory to the Frontier. But later on here, you've got some notes that explain those calendars. And so you kind of have an idea on how to move from one calendar to another. The point is that you could have a clue that says in such and such year, but it's not the regular timeline. And so the player characters look it up, they go, they got to do a little more digging. That was the point of that. And then I, discuss adventures in early history, give you some ideas for running a campaign set there. Then one of my favorite articles is from our local astronomer, Tom Stevens, our former NASA consultant. And he wrote this Cosmic Encounters, what would happen when a wandering brown dwarf passes through a system. And he goes through that, ran a bunch of simulations with astronomy software, on Earth solar system, where the Earth got kicked out, it got frozen out to a higher orbit, different things. And he discusses this, and because we were kicking this around as this is what caused the Yazarian star exodus. So this is a cool article, one of my favorites. We get a game report from Shadow Shack, Tales from the Falcon. That's ideas to mine for your game. Charge of the Drala. This was a fictionalized game post from a play-by-post game that I played in, involving my character, who was a Drala in this, named Doog. And so it was fun for me to write this. Essentially fiction. Equipment here. Now this gives you the robot archetype, the courier bot. And this just focuses on this particular bot, but also using it even as, it goes into all of these options for it. Extra robot equipment. This is a handy article because you're going to want to steal some of this equipment for your robots. And then, so at the very end of it, we get this random piece of equipment. It's a skip flyer. And so it's another vehicle. Diseases on the Frontier, written by Eli Arnden. Great guy. Talked to him a lot on the net. And he'd reminded me he wrote this. There's a lot of natural diseases in here. And then you get down to a bunch of engineered diseases, which I think is cool. So this is a handy article if you're doing medical adventures or you just need a medical challenge besides the medic of the team just healing people like a cleric. Task of the Skilled Frontier. This is inspired by HARP, the HARP RPG. HARP stands for High Adventure Role Playing, and their D100 system. And so I was kind of riffing off of their easy, trivial, hard, difficult task system and trying to apply that to the Skilled Frontier player character skill rules. The villainous NPC master plan, written by Larry Moore. Kibitzed with him on this quite a bit. And so this follows the villainous NPC, villainous mastermind NPC as he rises to power along the same lines as the player characters are adventuring. So, the first encounter, the Malthar, who becomes the Malthar for Dramune Run, he's actually just the shuttle pilot in the first step here. And he happens to be the shuttle pilot who gives the player characters a ride on one of their missions. And so as the player characters grow, this villain rises to power through like about 7 steps, and which kind of sets him up to be confrontation with the player characters. It can be a little bit more meaningful because they've known this guy along the way, but now he's more powerful and he looks down on them and despises them. And so then that's like, hey, we knew you when you were nobody. I thought that was a cool idea. And then PSA skill system. This is by Nick Pelletier. Another great frontiersman, a great guy. And this is basically a merging of the Alphadon skill system with the Skilled Frontier skill system from SF Men number 9. And it's kind of cool. I've never used it because I invested deeply in Skilled Frontier, and when I got fed up with it, I just went right back to Alphadon. And so I've actually not had a chance to use this to, see if I like this better. But he does do a comprehensive list of sub-skills here. And I kind of think that's cool. So Adventure Bots. This is a C.J. Williams. It's his final, using a robot PC article. And quite extensive. It's really, if you're interested in it, you read it. And then we jump down to teleportation tech. This is a neat examination of the BAP bins from Zebulon's Guide. It's quite an in-depth look at it, and then it examines even beaming down from a starship, a la Star Trek, but. I think it's an interesting thing. I love that the writer included teleportation illness, information on cybernetic devices and teleportation. It could be a problem. So Cool article. I've not used a lot of the Batbin technology until my Founders Day adventure. But, and here's the thing, though. This teleport operator skills, this has got more sub skills than the medic skill. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I noticed that when I was skimming this. A lot of sub skills in here, a lot of actions you can take with the teleport technology skill. And then there's a discussion of criminal activity involving the teleportation devices. And finally, we get to the classifieds. And there is no Gorko and Torita classified here at all. But I do love this. Yazarians, do you suffer from chronic dissociative rage syndrome? I just thought that was great. So, and then, after this is a compilation of tables by Nick Pelletier for just tech. He compiled all these and they tacked them on to the end of the magazine, which bloated the number of pages to it. And but this is handy for you because up to this point, it compiles all the tech together for you. So it's a unified tech list at this point. So there you have it, SF Men number 16. I want to thank you for watching the series. I thank you guys for all the good feedback on this. It encourages me. Oh, this was a good idea to review all these. Everybody seems to like them. Thank my subscribers. You guys are great. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the frontier.